All right. So I hope everyone can see my screen. If you can put it in the chat that you can see it, that'd be great. So I know you can see my screen. So everyone, welcome to the, sorry, I am not on mute, right? Awesome. Thank you, Kyle. Thank you, Amir. So welcome to the MedTech Talent Accelerators Experience MedTech Info session. My name is Adnan Sayed. I'm the director for the MedTech Talent Accelerator. And I really appreciate you taking the time to learn about our program and see if it's a good fit for you in these 5 different universities. So we are a collaborative program. We're a multi-institutional program. So at the moment, it's open to Ryerson University, McGill, University of Calgary, Dalhousie, and UBC. And just in terms of housekeeping rules, please kindly keep your mics on mute. If you have any questions, you can feel free as I go through the presentation. Please feel free to put them in the chat. I will look at them and I will address them at the end of the presentation. But please, as the questions come up for you, feel free to put them in the chat so I can see it. If you can also choose either to publicly share your question or privately, if you would like to simply, have me look at them. So send me a private message on the chat, or you're okay with it being seen publicly, you can send it to everyone. You can choose to do that as well. And at the end of the session, there will be a chance for you to ask questions. If you'd like to actually unmute and ask questions directly using your audio and come on video as you see fit, it would be available for that as well. Okay. So to get started, I'll start with the land acknowledgement, as I'm here located in the Toronto region. So I'll acknowledge the land I'm on here. So Toronto is in the Dish with One Spoon territory. The Dish with One Spoon is a treaty between the Anishinaabe, Mississaugas, and the Haudenosaunee that bound them to share the treaty and protect the land. Subsequent Indigenous nations and peoples, Europeans, and all newcomers have been invited into this treaty in the spirit of peace, friendship, and respect. So with that, I'm just going to get into the program. So what is the MedTech Talent Accelerator? So in a nutshell, what the MedTech Talent Accelerator is a training program designed to launch the next generation of industry-ready talent for the Canadian medical technology sector. What does that mean? So I'll make an attempt to explain that to you a little bit. So as you can imagine, it'd be great if you can do this in the chat for me. So if you can just tell me what level of program you're in, master's or PhD, and what is the name of your program? If you're in electrical engineering or biomedical physics or biomedical engineering, whatever that is, if you can put that in the chat for me so I can see who's in the room. Thank you so much, Kevin, and others, please, if you don't mind doing that. Fabulous. Awesome. So as you can see that, all of you here are in different programs, and the way these programs in general are set up at universities in general, so there are exceptions. So if you're an exception, that is also possible. But in general, the way these programs are set up is under, a discipline-focused discipline-focused program. So what do I mean by discipline? By discipline, I mean subject matter. So, I'll give you the example of Ryerson University. We're set up, our university is set up as faculties, and the faculties are set up as disciplines. So we have a faculty of arts, we have a faculty of business, we have a faculty of science, a faculty of engineering. So these areas are called disciplines. So in the engineering faculty, you have all the disciplines of engineering that are there, electrical, mechanical, industrial, etc. So what happens here is that, you as talent, or you as students in our university or post-secondary space, the way you're oriented is by discipline. And your friends are in the same discipline usually, because that's who you're in school with, or you're taking classes with, and things like that. So in general, your university experience is oriented by discipline. However, as you step outside this door as a student and become, a new grad, and look for a job, the economy that you're in here in Canada in general, globally, is that of industries. So what does it mean? What is an industry? So really, it's industries. The way I define it, it's a very loose and interchangeable word. A lot of people use industries and sectors interchangeably as well. But an industry is essentially, a set of businesses that are that create products or services for a specific market. And they're also regulated in a very specific way by those countries that they're operating under and things like that. So to give you the example of the Canadian medical technology sector, it's basically they're tech businesses that are creating products or services, but the customer for those products or services is the medical system, is the healthcare system. And that's where we get the term, Canadian medical technology sector. And because it is, going towards the healthcare system, these technologies, they're regulated by Health Canada here in here in Canada, and then they're regulated in the US under the FDA, and in other regions, there are different regulators. So that makes it a unique industry that you're trying to gain employment in. And what we're looking to do is, orient you towards the medical technology industry. And, what are some things you need to know about the industry? How do you commercialize a product from an idea to market? What does the market look like, and how do you generate revenue streams as a medtech business? What are some manufacturing practices and standards that businesses in the medtech space need to operate under? And be open to regulation and oversight and compliance around that. So that's really our focus. I hope that helps you see that this is we're industry focused, so we are focused on the medtech industry here, and we are a partnership, as I mentioned, the 5 universities, as well as the National Industry Association for medtech companies is called MedTech Canada, and they're a partner with us as well in running this program. So I'll get into the actual nuts and bolts of what we do in our program. So okay, yeah, we're called the MedTech Talent Accelerator, but what do we do in it? Like, how are we looking to train and transition you to this priority industry? So we basically, what you see on your screen are 2 blue bubbles. So you can see that one is called Explore MedTech and the other one is Experience MedTech. So essentially, these are our activities of our program. So for Explore MedTech, the idea here is we want to create opportunities for you to gain exposure to the industry while you're a student in your post-secondary institutions, so that you make an informed choice. So if you decide to work in the medtech industry, you've attended at least 2 or 3 of these lectures. Excuse me. You've attended at least 2 or 3 of these seminars. You've kind of gained some insights about how the industry works, and you're like, yeah, this would be a good place for me to be, pursuing a career in, and this aligns with my education and aspirations as well. So we want you to make an informed choice. So we offer these seminars on a monthly basis, from September to April, for you to attend. They're for free, and anybody who's following our LinkedIn page can attend them. We actually run them as a LinkedIn live session, as well as on Twitter and YouTube. And individuals in the 5 universities, the students do get these promoted to them directly. So you can look out for those as seminars. And the other one we do is we run a hackathon. So it's called MedTech Hack or Hack MedTech. And the idea there is, we work with a company as a partner to then pose a challenge that they're facing around innovation. And then we promote the hackathon to new talent like yourselves, and you're able to then apply and participate. So we had we worked with a company called Myant, which is a notable Ontario-based smart textiles-focused medtech company. And we were able to bring together 40 plus graduate students from all the 5 universities here to actually work in teams and propose solutions back to Myant about the challenge they put forward to us. So again, the why a hackathon. So the hackathon is really meant to be, you actually get to learn about an innovation challenge that's facing the industry today. and you get to put your mind to work. You get to work in a team of multidisciplinary students, usually from, as you can see in the chat, you're not all from the same degree program. So it is important that you're able to then work with people who are from different disciplines and actually still come up with a unified solution that you can propose back to the industry. So that's a skill building exercise as well in working in multidisciplinary teams and then interacting with industry as well. So that's how Explore MedTech works. And really what we're here to talk about today is the Experience MedTech. So I'll get in that now. So essentially what Experience MedTech is really, what we're looking to facilitate is your foot in the door in a MedTech company as you graduate. In a nutshell, that's what it is. But how do we do that? We have a unique model where you apply to us under Experience MedTech, like you're here for this information session. And then we get you to take our industry context training with us first. So you don't get to, be taken on as an intern right away. You actually need to do this training first and be versed at a high level in the MedTech industry space through our training. And I'll get into, what that involves in another slide. And then as you're in your final semester or one of your final semesters, we work with our industry partners and promote your candidacy as an intern to our industry partners and others in the MedTech industry for them to consider hiring you as an intern for a 4-month or an 8-month internship. There's always this question, we do not facilitate unpaid internships. We only facilitate paid internships. And being very candid in terms of what you can possibly see in terms of an offer through us if you join our program. I'd say 90% of the time, it's usually $10,000 for a 16-week or 4-month internship. That turns out to be about $2,500 per month. Okay, so that's really the salary at which we communicate to the industry. And that's the salary at which we're being very transparent and communicating that with yourselves as well. So that's what you expect. So if you're looking for something like $20,000 over 4 months for an internship, we may not be the right program for you at the moment. So just wanting to put that right up front as an eligibility item that you should consider in applying to us. All right, so that's kind of where the program is. So basically we get you through the online training and then we facilitate this whole internship process. So as companies select you to interview, we reach out to you and we pose the interview request to you. Once you accept, you then go through a scheduled interview with the company. And then we go back to the company and follow up to see if they want to hire you. And if they do, then we prep an offer letter with them and we present that offer letter to you to sign. And then once that's offer letter signed, that's basically a confirmed internship from our point of view. And then whenever that start date is in that offer letter, which lines up with your availability, that's when you would start that 4 or 8-month internship. Okay. So what kind of positions can you think about, or what kind of positions have we facilitated in the past? So this is just to show you a set of companies that have taken interns from us, all in MedTech, and the kinds of position titles that our interns have held in MedTech companies. Just to give you kind of a broad spectrum idea of the kind of roles you can be considered for as part of our program, and the kinds of companies that we do work with, and our list continues to grow. And just also want to say about the companies, not all companies are hiring all the time. So, you might see someone in this list of logos that you're like, I'd love to work for company X, but they may not be hiring for January and that's when you're available, or they may not be hiring for May when you're available, but they're hiring for September. So it really varies in terms of which companies are hiring and which companies are looking to take on an intern, given your availability and your skill set that you present through our program to the companies. So the next slide, I just want to show you, what does our training entail and what topics. We do have a detailed course outline that we can send you. But basically, we have 4 badges that we have set up our training under. One is badge 1, which is like MedTech business and commercialization. So this, we actually have a great partner as a law firm, Berskin and Parr. They actually developed our IP module for us. So they're lawyers who work on IP related to MedTech, actually help put this module together for us. So you get a really good understanding of how IP works in the industry. How do you actually protect it? How should you maintain confidentiality as an employee of a company working on new IP, etc. So we have some neat topics there. Then reimbursement basically is around revenue streams for the business. You would get to learn a bit about that. Finance is about, really talking about, how do you raise capital as a startup or as a company, that business that is looking to commercialize, and how that works. Digital health is kind of another aspect of MedTech, which is more focused on the operational side of the healthcare system. So EMRs and, training for, guides for different surgeries and things like that kind of fit under digital health. Our second one's around R&D. You're all primarily, STEM-based master's or PhD students. So you must be interested, you might be likely interested in, I shouldn't say must, sometimes once you do the PhD, you're not interested in doing the R&D anymore. But what we focus here on is just to give you a sense of, how does R&D work in the MedTech industry, and how is that different from, you doing research in the academic setting. And then there's a number of professional development modules that are made available to you as well. And we've just recently launched this brand new badge 4 that you see here, which is virtual clinical emergence training. So this one, we've actually worked with MedTech Canada and has been instrumental in us putting this together. So here, what we have is actually, we get into the customer, right? So for a MedTech company, who's the customer? It's likely, the healthcare system, an entity in the healthcare system. So we help you understand how the healthcare systems are structured and how they function. And then we also have a simulated experience that you get to go through virtually, where we have had our partner Unity Health Toronto actually mimic somebody showing up in ER with a specific disease or a specific issue or trauma. And then these videos will show you how a healthcare practitioner or a team of healthcare practitioners actually take them from diagnosis to therapy and stabilization and discharge. So they've contributed that, and then we've worked with the Sheridan College's a team there, which has developed actually a virtual reality experience that you can do, where you can actually walk into, what does an ultrasound room look like? What does an MRI room look like? What are some different interactions that practitioners do with these technologies and things like that? So you get a better understanding of how these technologies are deployed in the market, which is the healthcare system. So these are, in a nutshell, the kind of training that you can expect as you apply and participate in our program. So next, I want to get into eligibility for the Experienced MedTech program. And just trying to check the time. Okay, we're doing okay. So Experienced MedTech, basically, what we're looking for you to be is you need to be currently enrolled in one of our 5 institutions. Very specifically for University of Calgary, Dalhousie, and UBC, you must be enrolled in the biomedical engineering program specifically. If you're at Ryerson or McGill, as long as you're in a STEM-based master's or PhD program, you're eligible. Okay, so that's a very specific criteria. Please keep that in mind as you consider applying to us. And then for the Experienced MedTech program, what you need to be is, you need to have completed all of your coursework requirements and research, and be in the writing phase of your thesis by any of the following dates. And we do seek a confirmation from your supervisor. So it is really important that there's actually a PDF that you have to download from our site, take it to your supervisor, and have them confirm this and sign it for you. Okay. So please don't leave this application for the last date. You do need to connect with your supervisor and complete this in parallel. So basically we have 3, the way our program works is on rolling internships. So So we make interns available on May 1st, September 1st, and January 1st or 2nd on a yearly basis. So what we're looking from you is when you apply to us, you need to select which one you would like to be considered for. And that's something we communicate to our industry partners so that they know, if when they look at your profile and your resume through us, they know, you're eligible in September and not May, or you're available in January and not September. So your availability is important in terms of, when are you going to be available? And, if you're applying for example, January of 2023 right now, kudos to you. And, I appreciate that you're doing this proactively, and please do apply. But I can also understand that, the further out you're applying, the less predictable that date is of completion of your thesis, research, and your coursework. Coursework you can probably predict, but thesis might be less predictable. So given, you could apply today to us saying, you'll be available in January 2023, and say come September, you're like, oh, wait, it looks like I won't be, and it'll actually take me another term. So I'll actually be available in May of 2023. And that's completely understandable. So we do have a process where we will reach out to you on a regular basis just to find out if your availability has changed. And at that time, you can submit a request to modify your availability through that process. Okay, so it's not set in stone, but more stone the better. Like more hard the date the better, so that we facilitate the right internship for you in the right period that you're available. Now, how does this work? So we have an application form. It's a Google form. You will need to log in through some sort of a Google account. If you're at Ryerson, we are on the Google Enterprise. We are on the Google Workspace, so that works at Ryerson. But if you are in any other institution, we do ask you to upload files, and Google doesn't let you upload any files unless you log in through a Google account. So that you'll need to do, and then you can apply to us. And then the deadline for our current term is February 28th, 2022. So please look to apply by then. We will give you access to the training course, the modules I mentioned to you. All eligible students will get this access by March 15th. And then, based on what the availability you've given us and the companies that we interact with, this would be your interviews for our internship program will be as requested by our industry partners. And offer of internship would depend on those interviews and your availability. And internship start dates that you need to be considering for right now is May or September 2022 or January 2023. Okay, so that's just in terms of timelines, which you can anticipate or expect in our program. So how do you prepare? So there's a number of elements, very specific ones, that's really important for you to pay attention to as you prepare your application for us. And we've laid that out here. And I will actually, Mary Susan, if you don't mind, in the chat, if you want to drop the link to this slide deck so everybody here has it, you can go ahead and do that. But first step really is, you need to really get your confirmation from your supervisor. So we do have a PDF form here that you can download, and it's a simple one-pager where you need to get it signed by your supervisor for when you're available. So once you download that and sign it, that would be really your first step. You need to get approval from your supervisor that they're okay with you participating in our program. Okay, and then the second thing you need to work on is your resume or CV. And I'd say resume, please no 5-page CVs. We will send that back to you. But I'd say a max 2-page resume is what you should be looking at putting together for us. And then the way I would say you do this is please reach out to your career center. So each of you each of these institutions that we're working at have fabulous career centers and staff that can help you, review your resumes and give you feedback on it to help make sure that it's improved. So what that means is basically you're giving us a very good quality resume. So no typos, no inconsistencies in formatting, and you're catering your message in your resume to the medical technology industry. So any tasks you're describing are, catered towards the industry about managing projects and delivering on projects that you worked on. Now, there's very unique two things that we ask you to do in your resumes that, you might seem counterintuitive, but this is really important for us that you do this. We do send these back to students to fix if they're not done in the first round. In terms of your contact information, the way companies contact you is through our program. They submit a form to us where they request an interview with you, and we reach out to you. We gain your consent to do that interview. And at that stage, we would set up a calendar invite where your email is shared between you and the company, and the company's email is shared with you in a calendar invite, and then that interview is scheduled. So your resume should not have your home address. It should not have your email, and it should not have your phone number. Okay, we circulate these resumes quite widely and in a public manner. So please, look at your resume and say that, is this okay? Is this information what I want to represent myself as in the public domain? And you need to be okay with that. We do have a consent that we ask you to check mark as you submit your application to us for this. Okay, so that's very important. Please, no home address or anything that can be seen as a contact information on your resume. And then in terms of your city, it's important you tell us which city you're in. Please, no home address. You can just say city and province. So if you're in Toronto, you would say Toronto, comma, and then ON for Ontario. Okay, so this is really important. It's an administrative piece, but we go through every single resume and make sure this is removed for us. And then, the next thing I want to mention is a specific item that I've heard industry identify as they've kind of interviewed candidates through us is really about project management knowledge and experience. So if there's any way when you put your resume together, if you can shape it in a way that you can demonstrate that, you understand what project management is, and you have some familiarity with it, and you've actually managed a project like your thesis from start to finish, and things like that, so that you can highlight how you can manage new projects in the future. I think that would be valuable for you to provide. And then, as I say, please, not a CV, please, a 2-page resume maximum is what you should be looking to share with us. So that's point number 2. So point number 3, this is a unique ask that we do. Actually, 3 and 4 are a unique ask of our program. You might not have seen that before. So point number 3, which is the pitch yourself piece, which is you're supposed to do this in 650 characters, is a replacement of the cover letter. So when you write, when you're applying for a very specific job, you put this cover letter together where you're like, this is the reasons why I would be really good at your job, please consider me for an interview. Instead of that, you're writing a pitch to the industry overall, not to a specific company. So here you would, write a 650 character pitch of, some of your strengths and, and why you're interested in working in the MedTech industry. And again, this should take you a little bit of time to, really think through what you want to capture and provide that to us. We do review these as well. None of these items that you submit to us, every single item that you submit to us that we share with our partners is reviewed, and corrections are sought if it's not of good quality when we've received them. All right, so that's the pitch yourself. And then the 4th item, which is also unique to us, is we ask you to respond to a behavioral question. And the question is the same for every one of you. It is, when a manager gives you a task and you don't know how to do it, what do you do? So for this, what I would like you to do is record a 1-minute video where you say hi and you introduce yourself briefly, and then you respond to this interview question. And then you're able to complete your response within 60 seconds or a minute. If it's beyond a minute, it would be important that we would actually send that back to you to fix it. So please, it would be great if you can start off by making sure it's 1 minute. Also, very clearly, please do not edit your videos. I mean, you can clip it. You can clip the start and the end, so you make sure you're only sending us the piece where you're actually speaking into the camera and talking. But other than that, please, no other edits. It needs to be just a raw video. Some thoughts I would give based on the ones I've seen in the past is, please make sure you have a kind of a background that is not distracting. So, I mean, I'd consider mine a little distracting for an activity like that. But like a plain wall or something like that, people then focus on what you're saying and not, looking behind you as to, what is being seen in that camera. And that would be important. And again, please speak to the camera, dress professionally when you record this, and then you can upload that as part of your application form. And then the final item that we ask of you that you need to prepare is your unofficial transcript. So please, no official transcripts are needed. You do not need to pay for these things. Just go into your system, your school system for downloading your transcripts, unofficial ones, and you download those and upload that to us. We do not share your transcript with the employer partners. We only use it to verify your eligibility. We look to see that you have taken the courses in the program that you're in, your transcript shows your program name, that you are around your final term of your program. These are the kinds of things we look for in your transcript to make sure that you're eligible for our program. Only my administrative staff and actually the staff that are at your site will be looking at these and then approving them based on what they see in these transcripts. And no employer, or again, I want to repeat this, we do not share your transcripts with employers. We only share the items 2, 3, and 4, which is a resume, a pitch yourself, 650 characters of that, and then a video behavioral question response. Okay, that's what gets shared with our partners. Okay, so that's how you prepare the application. So that really is how you apply and how you're eligible and what our program is about and what you can anticipate from it that we've captured here. What I'd like to do now is really open up the program and open up this conversation with questions. I do see a few in the chat, so I will look at those shortly. And if you'd like to add to that, please, go ahead, capture your thoughts or questions that you have about the program in the chat. Either Mary Susan or Jesse may respond in the chat itself if they if I catch it, I'm going to make sure I read it out and then I respond to that as well. Okay, so with that, thank you so much for your time, for learning more about the MedTech Talent Accelerators Experience MedTech program, and I hope you will consider submitting your application to us.